Well, we just got to rock and roll.
Okay, go.
What were you going to say?
Nothing. I'll save it for the show. Go.
Welcome to Degos On 3, hosted by Sonny and the Murph, podcasting since 2012. Join us for 1 hour and 3 topics: family, sports, and entertainment. So listen in as you mow your lawn, drive to work, or are grinding at the gym. How's your team going to do this year? What games you playing? Got any crazy family stories you want to share? Grab that drink of choice. It's time.
All right, welcome to another episode of Degos On 3. I am your host, Sonny, in the Dego Dungeon North, up here in beautiful, sunshiny, cloudy, rainy, windy, all in one day, Oregon, Pacific Northwest, my home for the last 20 years. In studio with me, as always, is the tornado-stricken, humidity-having, climate dweller himself, Josh. Josh, how are you?
Sonny, I'm doing fantastic. It's nice to be back here in the Dego Dungeon. A good thing I'm in a Dego Dungeon because of all the tornadoes overhead.
Are you having tornadoes right now?
No, we're not. I'm just being facetious because you mentioned it. But no, I mean, we have, where I live, we have had the occasional tornado come through. And in fact, the year before I moved to Middle Tennessee, we had a tornado hit downtown Nashville, blew out a bunch of windows of the big buildings downtown and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we are known to have some here in Middle Tennessee, but no, not right now.
Well, when I'm suffering through 9 months of rain, I'll think about your tornadoes and won't feel so bad.
Well, there you go. But it's gorgeous here, though. I will say, though, the humidity is let up. I was out at my son's football practice earlier this evening, and it's just glorious outside. It's like, high 80s, low humidity. Like, it's just beautiful. I wish it would stay like this for longer periods of time.
You got to have the good and the bad to make the good appreciated, That's kind of how it works.
Well, what's nice about the seasons is that it's actually a marker in time. When you live in California where we grew up, it's just like the weather's the same all the time. Like there's like a 10-degree fluctuation from, month to month, and that's about it, so it's the passage of time goes differently. Where here it's actually like you mark the years as they go by. It's rather interesting.
Yeah, when the seasons change, that's for sure.
Like getting a new Raider hat and knowing it's football season? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, or spending $80 on Raider gear and getting scolded out by the wife, and it's like, what? It's a new season. She doesn't quite get that. Speaking of which, let's just jump right into it, Josh. Let's talk about sports. Do you realize that there will no longer be a Sunday without football until after the Super Bowl? Has that sunk in yet?
It has, and I'm so thankful for it, although I'm going to miss watching live NFL football this Sunday because we have this big church event at the Bridgestone Arena every year, and it happens to this year, Sunday is 9/11, and so we're having this big 9/11 thing and all that, thanking first responders, and it's really cool, and we have some first responders on my wife's side of the family. Her dad and her brother were both firefighters. My father-in-law is actually retired now, but all that said, yes, I am fully aware that it is football season because I'll be DVRing the first Raider game this year. But man, it's such a nice time of year knowing that we got NFL Sunday and a great first weekend of college football this weekend too. Fantastic.
College, I used to be really, really into college football when the Raiders really were just sucking. Moved up to Oregon. There were the Beavers, Oregon State Beavers were local and stuff. So for a while, I was way more into college than I was in the pro. But now I think I'm back on the pro side of things and stuff. What about you? You a big college football fan, or I know we've talked about in the past with Middle Tennessee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But would you say you're more pro than NFL or college?
Oh, by far. I'm much more of a pro football fan. Although I do have a huge appreciation of college football now, especially after living in SEC country for the past, 18 years or however long it's been now. Where we grew up in the Bay Area, you got Stanford and Cal, and then down south, of course you got USC and UCLA who occasionally are pretty good. And I know Cal has had some decent years over the year. And of course there's the big game at the end of the year between those two schools. But growing up, it's pro football. It's Raiders and it's Niners. And that's by far at least in our households growing up, without having dads that had any affiliation to any college directly. That's what it was. I mean, the most college football I got growing up was my dad watching Notre Dame on Saturdays because they were named the Fighting Irish. And being Murphy's, being half Irish, then he just thought that was really cool. They were the Fighting Irish. And so they were on NBC at the time. And so we'd watch that. But outside of that, I never was into college football. Then I moved to South Florida, lived down there for a few years. And a lot of my friends were Miami Hurricanes fans. And so by proxy,
that was when Miami was really good, right?
Well, it was, yeah, kind of. It was kind of in those middle years. They won national championships in 83, 87, 89, and 91, and then 2001. And so I lived down there between like 94 or 95 to like 98, 99, somewhere around there. So I was kind of in the middle of them winning national championships. But yes, they were competitive. That was back in the or not long after that. That was the Edgerrin James days. That was, oh gosh, look at me. Jeremy Shockey, Ed Reed, that's what all those, Andre Johnson, all those players were coming around and coming through. So anyway, so that was the beginning of it, and then the beginning of my interest in it. And then I moved to Tennessee, and oh my gosh, it's just SEC, fest down here. That's by far, it's way more popular than pro football even is today.
Did you watch USC Alabama?
I did not. I saw the highlights of it or lowlights of it if you're a USC fan, and I just saw Lane Kiffin's offense rip out the throats of USC, throw it down there on the tarmac and stomp on it just like they did to him when they fired him.
Is Lane Kiffin OC or DC for Alabama?
Offensive coordinator, yeah. Did you see the Instagram post that he put up after he?
No. Oh, no.
He put up an Instagram post of his son holding the game ball. And then he hashtagged it instead of like a Bible verse like John 3:16. He hashtagged it LAX 314 because that's when they fired him, was on the tarmac of Los Angeles Airport at 3 a.m. in the morning. So it was a good shot there across the bow to USC after letting him go the way he did. And I don't know if this is the direction that we're going to go in the sports segment, but just to bring it up.
Wait, so they fired him on the tarmac? But it was after a loss, right?
Yeah, they fired him at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Who'd they lose to that they fired him?
I don't even remember. That shows you how good of a West.
But it was. I remember that though. It was the way back, and they fired him before before they even landed.
Yeah.
As they landed, right?
And he kind of really went off.
But he was a pompous ass though, wasn't he?
Oh, he's the worst. Well, remember when he was a Raider coach? That was the infamous. Al Davis with his overhead slides and all that stuff.
The letter and stuff.
Right. That was that. And then he went to UT, and then he burned UT, so everybody.
Because he was at UT for a year, right?
Yeah. And then he bailed on them to go take the SC job, and so everybody here hates him too. In fact, there's a sewage company in Knoxville named Lane Kiffin Sewage. Like it's they absolutely hate him here, and then we hate him because we're Raider fans. So he's like, I can't stand the guy. So when he went to USC, then I kind of quit paying attention to him. But I do know that yes, they fired him at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, now he's back at Alabama, and Nick Saban gets a lot of crap, and especially I hear a ton of stuff against Nick Saban being in Tennessee, and them and Alabama are huge rivals. Everybody here hates him. But, man, he's a freaking gangster, dude. Like, he just lets his guys do what they do. Like, he lets Lane Kiffin be Lane Kiffin. Like, he knew this was a big deal to Lane. He knew this was going to, if he had a chance to, like I said, rip their hearts out or whatever, he was going to do it. And Saban let him do it, man. Like, he just –
And they did. They scored late. I mean, they were throwing bombs late. It was 45-3 late in the fourth quarter, and they threw a 20-yard pass and went for 6. I mean, they didn't care. They didn't pull any punches and stuff. I watched the whole game. I watched the opening. It was a big game. In USC, Alabama, they hadn't played since 1985. You think all the great USC teams, all the great Alabama teams, but they really weren't great at the same time. So they hadn't played each other since 1985. So this was a huge game, especially being on the West Coast and USC having their reign back in the day with Leinart and Bush and all those guys. USC was pretty untouchable there for a few years, but then the sanctions and all that. And then Alabama of recent. And then USC's kind of been slowly coming up, like the Oregon Ducks have kind of fallen off. I mean, they're not falling off. They're not as maybe untouchable as they were in the Pac-12 as they were a couple years ago. So UFC is kind of looking to like, all right, they're going to come back and retake the top. So this was a huge game to watch, especially opening day, SEC, Pac-12, it's pretty cool. And for the first couple possessions, Alabama couldn't do anything. USC got 3 points, and then it was like, all right, is this going to be a defensive game? And like all of a sudden, it seemed like Alabama figured out what USC was doing, and on both sides of the ball, and USC couldn't adjust. And it really just showed how football is such a game of adjustments. And I think Mike Tyson has that quote where he says, everybody has a plan until somebody gets punched in the mouth. And I think USC just got straight punched in the mouth, and they couldn't figure anything out after that and stuff. And kudos to Alabama, and kudos to Lane Kiffin, and kudos to Saban for trusting in a freshman quarterback to take the reins and stuff. Because I mean, you probably know because you're over there. The quarterback was in question mark. You know who was going to take charge this year, and man, Alabama looks mean.
Well, they do, and
They
you know
look mean.
that's the thing about Saban is that you mentioned the freshman quarterback, and you know when you look at the way that he recruits, if you were to just solely look at skill position players, it's probably about neck and neck with a team like USC. Where Alabama dominates and where they just wreck fools is in the trenches. And that's where, and like if you look at the way he recruits, he'll be willing to let a 5-star guy go, you know, at a skill position in order to focus on getting somebody on those lines. And that's why, you know, until really Derrick Henry and of course there's been a couple others, but you know, the kind of the rub on Alabama running backs is that they don't do nearly as well in the pros. And that's because they're running behind these amazing offensive lines when they're in college, and then defensively as well. The depth that Alabama has offensively and defensively in the trenches is unmatched. And so I'm with you, dude. They're mean, and that's a perfect way to describe it. Is they just straight up punch you in the mouth. Like you may get some highlight plays on them here or there, and when they start getting into their SEC schedule and they start going up against some of the flashier teams in the SEC, we'll see how that goes. And so they're going to get scored on, but I don't think anybody, when it comes to grinding out wins, people call them boring. People call them, you know.
But that's football.
That's
I mean,
football. That's freaking football, man.
That's football, you know. It's interesting because the 3 yards cloud of dust philosophy in the NFL is shifting now more towards spread offense, up tempo and stuff. But Alabama has kind of kept not so much 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but they don't do a lot of hurry up. They don't do a lot of the fancy stuff. They just kind of play strong defense and have a good running game. A.J. McCarron wasn't anything special passing the ball, you know. I think he's most recognized for having a prettier girlfriend than him, you know, than himself. And so they really don't do anything super tricky. They just play football well. Is that the impersonation you get over there too?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. And then you add in, you know, occasionally you'll add in an Amari Cooper that'll pop the top off your defense, you know what I mean, and make those big flashy plays downfield. But that's not what they're about. They're not an Oregon or whatever. You know, I was watching Texas here. I did watch part of the Texas Notre Dame game last night, and it was like that freaking Texas offense. Talk about hurry up! My gosh, Chip Kelly was just, you know, he was probably excited watching that game. Let me just say that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, because that offense was boogieing, man. They were up to the line and moving, and that was pretty exciting and fun to watch. And yeah, there's a lot of teams that have now adopted that. Of course, I think Chip Kelly and Oregon were the ones that really kind of brought that to popularity, especially when you got an athlete like Mariota back there to run it. But yeah, so I see a lot of teams are now doing that, but not Alabama. Not Alabama.
Yeah, I booked my ticket last night for the Denver Broncos Raiders game. I'm sad that you will not be there with me to protect me when things go haywire and fridges get pissed in, but that'll be okay.
There'll be nobody there to go, Sonny, what are you doing? Nothing, man. It's cool.
Hopefully.
No, it's not cool. You're pissing in the fridge.
Hopefully there won't be a reason that happens on my end this time. I can't say about my other cousin, who was a strong Coors Light fan.
I'm retired.
Yeah, no, not you, Ryan.
Oh, the other one.
The other one. You know, the younger one.
Yeah.
He hasn't learned yet. So
he hasn't learned yet. His liver's not retired yet.
No, but an interesting question though. So we booked our tickets. We got ready to go to we're getting all hyped up. Got our hotel. Got everything ready to go. You know, and then I mentioned to him. I say, hey, look. We're going to a Raider game. Don't be wearing a Broncos jersey to the game. And I just kind of threw it out there to him, you know. And then he replied back. He said, oh yeah. He goes, I already thought about it. He goes, I want to see my daughter more than 7 months of her life, because her daughter's about 7 months old, you know. So he says I want to see my daughter more than 7 months of my life, so I'm not going to wear any Bronco gear to the stadium.
Smart man.
Is that but I have to ask myself, and I ask you this too, is that an indictment on Oakland? You know, can you go anywhere and have the same experience, or is that just the Oakland Raiders thing? And maybe are we taking it too far? You know, you talk to because you're gonna see Broncos jerseys at the game. You're always gonna see different jerseys at a game. Is it 100% true to tell him, look, don't wear the jersey to the game? Could he wear it and nothing go wrong? Sure, Is he running a big risk by wearing it? I think so, because I've been there. I've been there in a Raider jersey and felt kind of scared to a certain degree. So I don't know. What do you think? Is that just unique to Oakland, or is that across the board?
Well, I certainly don't think it's unique to Oakland. I mean, the first guy to wear a Cowboys jersey to Philly.
Yeah.
Probably, you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain places where, I'm not going to a Jets game wearing a Marino jersey. You know what I mean? Like I'm probably not going to Chicago wearing Aaron Rodgers. There's probably a handful of places that I would
What's
say
going to
that you
happen
wouldn't
if
want
you
to.
do?
Well, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen because I've seen it. And you have as well. The first time we went on a road trip to go see our Raiders, we went and saw them play the Jets. This is the Mark Sanchez led Jets. This is post Mark Sanchez eating a hot dog on the sideline. So there's plenty of animosity built up, not only as there should be just because they're the stinking Jets, but because of the way Sanchez kind of punked them the last time that they had played. So we were at the game and we were sitting in the end zone, not on the black hole, but on the other side, on the other end zones. And for those of you that have never been to the Oakland Coliseum, when you walk into the Oakland Coliseum, it's like walking into Mordor. And I'm not kidding. It's chanting, it's black gates, it's concrete, it's dark,
It echoes,
it's dingy.
yeah.
It echoes. It could be an intimidating place if you're not there for the right reason. So in those end zones, the bathrooms they're a little better now. We went to an A's game this past summer and they've improved them a little bit.
Did you get
but
switch on your feet?
That's it. Yeah. But that said, they're still kind of questionable. And back then they're even worse. And there's troughs. Okay. Like my kids, it was funny when the first time they went in the bathroom, they're like, do we wash our hands? I'm like, no, don't wash your hands there. That's where you pee. Because they're troughs. They're literally big troughs that you go up and go. And I think a lot of older stadiums are like that. But anyway, so there's troughs there. So knowing that there's the troughs, there was something that happened in the bathroom when we were at the game. I was waiting in line to use the trough. And off to my right, in the corner, and using the trough, like as far up, scooted up against the wall as you could, was a guy wearing a Jets jersey.
Now, was he shy?
Oh, yeah, he was shy.
No, like junior high shy. When you have to use the trough in junior high, was he shy, or was he because he was a Jets fan?
No, he was shy. He couldn't pee, and you could tell he was way shy because everybody in the bathroom was yelling at him. And this poor guy was like, all right, like he's already got it out, so he's already at least that committed, but he's scared to go because everything's tightened up inside of him. And so, and when I say hollering at him, I'm going to use in language I'm not going to use on the show, threatening him in ways I'm not going to mention on the show, but you can use your imagination and figure out what the kind of stuff. I've never been to prison, but I'd say it's probably pretty close. Okay. So that was the one thing. So I felt sorry for so finally he just kind of zips it up and bails out. I don't think the guy ever went to the bathroom. But so that's what. So if you are willing to submit yourself to that type of ridicule, by all means, have at it. And then the other thing that was noticeable was that where we were sitting, I was sitting next to my dad, and then I think it was one or two guys, and then you and your dad. And there was in front of us, there was a man in a Jets jersey with his two kids, and his kids are like 15 and 12, maybe, I'm guessing somewhere around in that range.
Yeah, they were young. They were
young. And as the game's going on, there was more and more debris flying over us, landing on them. Peanuts, if it was a touchdown and people started getting rowdy.
But we won though, right? We won that.
Yeah, oh yeah, we won.
Yeah. And they were still doing that to them.
Well, the worse the beating got for the Jets and the more dominant the Raiders looked to be that day, and it ended up being a close game. They either came back or it was tied most of the game. Remember, it was kind of a close game, and then the Raiders won it late.
McFadden won that long touchdown.
Right, yes.
Denarius Moore, all that stuff.
Denarius Moore scored on that reverse, yeah. So then here came the stuff, and it was like, and so people are starting to yell at these guys, and they're throwing stuff at these guys. And I remember at one point, my dad leans over to me, and he goes, I think that's child abuse. And I'm like,
yeah, I remember that.
And he goes, why would you bring your kid in a competitive team's jersey to a Raider game? You know what's going to happen. So it was like, so eventually, so here came the language. And again, this is like a slowly escalating thing over, I'd say about 3 quarters. And then if you remember, when at the break before the 4th quarter started, they took their jerseys off. They turned them inside out, put their T-shirts on over the top so you couldn't see what they were wearing, and they bailed out. And I was like, good, you should. So all that said, no, I don't think that our cousin Rai Rai should wear the Broncos jersey to the Oakland Coliseum. He'd probably be fine, but is that really a chance you want? I mean, is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it to show your fandom to take the risk of. All it takes is one drunken idiot, right? And does it make it right? And is it fair to Ryan that he can't rep his team? And is it sad that we're in a state that's where sports has gone to? Yes, to all of that, but I still wouldn't do it.
And I guess you make a good point. Is that just the state of affairs that we're in? I mean, you look at the angst across the country, and just everybody just seems more tense than normal with racial division and political division and class division. I mean, just division across the board. You made a good point where you said all it takes is just one guy. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate because to a certain degree, some of that is expected, I think, and that's part of the gamesmanship. It's part of the experience, so to say. When we went to Atlanta, we wore our Raiders jerseys. We went to the Raiders Atlanta game. We didn't get heckled by anybody except for the freaking condiment selling dude, the concessions guy. That was the first guy to heckle us. And we wore our Raiders jersey all over town, walked through a gay pride parade, and there's nothing wrong with that, if that's what you're into. I got heckled by a guy there.
You got heckled at the gay pride parade.
That was because I made fun of his wings, so he called me a fat ass, so whatever, shut up. Oh, he had nice wings. We got more heckled walking through the gay pride parade than we did walking by any fans of the Atlanta Falcons. So maybe I think it is a little bit of an Oakland thing. I think it's a mystique thing. I don't want to say that all Oakland fans are criminal. I'm not going to say that at all. And I also think it's by experience. You know, you could go to Oakland games for your whole life and have a great experience. And I think a lot of it depends on where you park, where you sit, and all that kind of jazz. But there is a certain personification that happens from being an Oakland Raiders fan. I mean, even up here in Oregon, I wear my Raiders hat everywhere. I worked at church yesterday and I got heckled for it and stuff. You're like, oh, you're a Raiders fan, huh? And they look at you like this tough guy and stuff, you know. It's like, well, I like the Raiders, you know. But there's a certain mystique that comes with it, and I think that mystique gets in your mind. Then when you go to the stadium, and the stadium is just old and dilapidated and just kind of crappy, and it is the oldest stadium, or one of the oldest stadiums. It's the only one still with baseball and football. It's just kind of a crappy stadium. I think it's a little mixture of both. I think it's true. You don't want to wear a visiting jersey there, but I think you can. But I think you might get heckled a little more there than anywhere else and stuff. And so, you know, with Ryan and you know, I got kids. I want to come back, you know, and now he's my cousin. I'm not going to die for him protecting the Broncos.
Well, and that's the thing is that, you know, are you going to expect getting heckled and ribbed and all that? Yes, absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We would do it to opposing fans, and especially now that I'm older, I'm pretty chill at a game. But there was once upon a time where you put me at, you know, when I was 20 years old, and you put me at the Oakland Coliseum. You know what I mean? Like I'm a pretty vocal guy and vocal to other fans, and never in a violent way or an intimidating way, but always but I'm going to rib you. You know, if I'm at an A's game and they're playing the Dodgers and you're wearing a blue hat, I got something for you. You know what I mean? But that said, so I think the heckling is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's like, okay, it takes one drunk guy and it's like, you know, we can joke and you and I off mic, we're talking about this. I said, you know, you don't want to go to jail for Ryan for wearing a Bronco jersey, and so we could like joke haha about that. But you know that if you were walking through the concourse and somebody said something to him and went up and pushed him, you know what you would do.
It's on.
And it's on. And so it's like, you know, you don't want to go to jail for that, even though it would be for all the right reasons and all that. It's not worth it. And for somebody who's been in a holding cell below a stadium before, they'll I know. For my mouth, too, of all things. Just for my mouth. They'll put you there. Yankees Marlins, first interleague game at Joe Robbie Stadium. But who's counting? You know, but is that something you want to go, you know, miss a flight? Or, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
To me, it's not worth it. And, you know, there's something else you said, too, that I like to expand on was that you said, you know, a lot of it, too, could depend on where your seats are, where you park, where you that too, because, okay, you know, we laid out the scenario of the Raider game when we went and sat in the end zone against the Jets. But think about the Sunday night game when we met Plunkett, we met Willie Brown. We sat in the club seats.
Oh, great classy affair. Yeah.
You said the club seats, and what was that like?
Totally different. Totally different.
Totally. There wasn't anything at all. Nothing sketchy at all going on. In fact, it was pretty swank. You know what I mean? Of course, we paid a lot more for our seats, but it was worth it, right?
But do you remember the Jets game, though, when we were walking back to our car and we parked, you may know this better, we parked across the street, kind of over, in that dirt parking lot and stuff. I remember walking back there and hearing guys saying they wanted to, take another Raiders guy jersey because it was brand new. It was Raider fans. It wasn't like it was like the opposing team. Like, it was Raiders fans wanting to go steal another Raiders fan's jersey because it was brand new. And it was like, man, really? At the end of the day, fandom only goes so far and stuff, and people are going to be people, and you got to kind of, I don't know. I think as I get older, I want to be safer. So Ryan's going to be wearing a black shirt. I'll tell him it's to conceal his chubbiness, but really it's to blend in a little better.
Root on the inside, Ryan.
All right, new topic. Let's talk about entertainment.
Sonny, thank you, and welcome to the entertainment desk at the Degos Dungeon South, where it's Sonny. You like Batman?
I don't not like him, but I'm not like going on my way to do anything Batman related.
Were you growing up? Did you ever read any of the comics or go see the movies or any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, yeah, I'd see the movies in the theaters with Michael Keaton and all that kind of stuff. Never read the comic. I've never been a comic book reader, period. So I just never read comics in general. But if I had to choose, I think Batman's one of the coolest of the superheroes. I would agree there.
Well, I would agree with you too. He's definitely one of the cooler of the superheroes. And for entertainment this week, we've talked about Suicide Squad. We've talked about a couple other things. I'm a Batman junkie, man. I love the Batman mythos, and I love the characters and just everything about it. I think is really, really cool. And my kids dig it too. Like, they're 10 and 13, right? So they're like the perfect age for appreciating stuff like that. And I'm telling you, we went on an absolute Batman binge. It's Labor Day weekend and didn't really have a lot going on other than chilling out. We went to a big company function, a big party and stuff on Saturday. But yesterday and today has just been doing a lot of nothing. And we went and binged through all three of the Dark Knight trilogy movies, all three of the Christopher Nolan directed, Christian Bale starring Batman movies. I watched the Dark Knight Returns movie, which is Dark Knight Returns, one of the best graphic novels of all time, and they've made a cartoon about it, a movie, and it's fantastic. I watched that, and then we watched the extended cut, which is like 3 hours long, of Batman versus Superman, the Dawn of Justice. So we have gone Bruce Wayne crazy here over the past couple of days, and it's been great. Absolutely. Every time I watch those movies, especially the Dark Knight trilogy, they get better and better, man. Those are just some phenomenal movies. Is there any? Go ahead.
Was it planned, or you just did it?
I just kind of fell into it. I had the Steelbook Blu-ray version of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and then I never got the Dark Knight Rises Steelbook. I don't think they had it available at Best Buy at the time, and so I've just kind of not had it for a long, long time. We watch it at Dark Knight Rises if it'll come on TNT or whatever, but I hadn't had the Blu-ray. So anyways, I found the Blu-ray on Amazon, so I ordered that. And so when you get the new one, you got to watch all three of them, in a row.
Of course.
So it was just phenomenal. Tom Hardy is the bomb. I think we talked about Tom Hardy in one of the old shows. Tom Hardy is becoming one of my new favorite actors. There's something that they say about mask actors, whether it's Dave Prowse in, the original Star Wars trilogy, or even Adam Driver in the new Star Wars, and Tom Hardy in A Dark Knight Rises, or not A Dark Knight, but Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight Rises, whatever the heck it is. You got to be a really good actor to act with a mask on, like to convey emotion and all that stuff when you can't see your nose or your mouth, and you know what I'm saying?
Good point.
Like, you got to be a really good actor, like, because all you do is hear the voice. And with Tom Hardy, he's not wearing a full mask like Kylo Ren, so you can see his eyes. So there is some expression and stuff in his eyes, but just his whole presence on camera and just the way he delivers those lines and what he conveys with his body language, and everything is just fantastic. He's brilliant, and they're just great movies. They're great movies. So Is there anything that you guys, not TV show wise, but is there any like, well, I guess it could be a TV show, but is there any like franchise that you or your family, like you guys will just geek out about? And I know your kids are younger, so they're still in the like kind of the Pixar phase of, franchises or fandom. But is there anything where you just like, man, I've got to watch, The Godfather this weekend or whatever? Is there anything that you and Miss Rachel will binge out on like that?
Ever heard of Chuggington?
No.
And it's not a National Lampoon's college frat party drinking epidemic, although it could be if it sounds like it. Chuggington. Dom's 3, so we're not even on Pixar yet. We're in Netflix kids section. Chuggington, Curious George, Thomas and the Train, whatever.
Thomas the Train's solid. Especially the ones that are
Thomas
narrated by George Carlin. I used to love that. I'm like, it's Carlin. I'm like, this is cool.
George Carlin does those?
Carlin does a whole bunch of the Thomas the Train. Yes, find those episodes. I don't know which ones.
George Carlin was actually a pretty cool dude, man. I mean, when you go back and look at a lot of his footage, I remember growing up as a kid. He was a little before I was born in '79, so I think he was popular late '70s, '80s, right?
Yeah.
'90s,
yeah,
yeah.
'70s.
But I remember my dad loved him, loved Carlin, and then he passed away. But you're scrolling Facebook, you just do your normal thing, and you find these quotes that he used to say and stuff, and I think he was a pretty sharp guy. Anyway, as far as binging, we're TV show bingers now. Like we don't really watch movies anymore because our kids are so young. They're 3 and 1.5, and so just getting through a day is successful. And then Rich is like, let's have another one. And I'm like, hey, yeah. I'm taking birth control secretly. No. So if they work for her, they might work for me, right? The pills. Anyway, so just getting through the day is enough. And then once they're in bed, it's like, we just kind of collapse on the couch and stuff. So we're not real movies. I can't even remember the last movie we watched. Like the other day, we had a date night, and we ended up going out to eat Red Robin, and then we ended up going to a park and just sleeping. Serious. He came home. So I would say Star Wars still is kind of like the one thing we'll geek out on and watch as far as movies go. I remember when let's see. I think it was just a couple years ago we just decided to watch them all. So we watched all 6 before the 7th one was released. And then every time we're watching TV and a Star Wars reference pops up, we'll high five each other because it's a Star Wars reference. We did Star Wars thing ever. So besides Star Wars, though, as far as both of us go, there really isn't anything. I like all those Italian movies and stuff and The Godfathers. I'm really excited for Mafia 3. It's a video game coming out by Take-Two. I think it drops October 7th at 12 a.m. midnight. I know exactly when it drops. Just kidding with you. So Mafia 3 comes out. I'm hyped for that. I love old school Italian movies. She doesn't like them very much. I think I showed her The Godfather. She doesn't like all the killing and stuff like that. So finding movies we're actually compatible with is kind of challenging at times. We like the Lord of the Rings. We'll watch those together.
Fantastic movies. Love them.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings are great. Just those epic adventures and stuff like that. But recently, I've been a huge Game of Thrones fan. I think I caught on season 3, and then I've been in love with it. A lot of people at my work like it, so it's just easy fodder to talk about and stuff. But she never liked them. She's always heard bad things about them. Heard there was too much sex, too much fighting, blah 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 blah. But I recently got her into them probably 2 months ago. And then we've watched every single one for the last 2 months. So I've rewatched them all, and it's kind of cool to watch them with her because she's way more detail oriented than I am. So I'm learning a whole new stuff that I missed out in time before. But we've kind of blitzed through them. Now I think tonight we're planning on watching the very last one, and so she'll be all caught up with that. And so recently it's been Game of Thrones. Like I think in the past week we've watched like 2 episodes a night, and then the last couple nights it was one episode, and the last night we watched 2 episodes. So we'll do that. We'll do shows, and we'll geek out on the shows and stuff. And then I don't know. I'm very flighty with my entertainment and stuff. I'll be completely into one thing for months at a time or weeks at a time, and then it's on to something else and stuff. So right now it's Game of Thrones for shows. For video games, right now it's Elder Scrolls Online. I had the last week off work, and I think I put in 36 hours just in the Elder Scrolls this week.
Nice.
I've had the time off work. I have nothing to do. And I've done stuff like during the day. I ripped out cabinets, cleaned the garage. You do your man chores. I'm taking 2 naps a day. not having
Strong.
a schedule.
That's strong.
Finding it difficult. I now realize why man needs a schedule. Because without it, gosh dang it, dude. Shower like at 3 p.m., take a nap at 1, another nap at 7, then you're up till 2. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh,
But
the 7 o'clock nap, that's dangerous.
yeah,
dude.
because you're up all night,
Oh, yeah, that's playing with fire there.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Anything after like 3, 4 o'clock. Like that's if I nap after that, forget it, dude. It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but I can't remember the last vacation I've had where I just stay at home because, I'll take like 3 days off for Christmas or 2 days off for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. But to just have a week of doing nothing and nothing's expected other than just, household stuff. Like normally all my vacations have been at youth camps and stuff like that. So this is the first time where I've had, I think it was 10 days off in a row, just kicking it and stuff. So yeah, 36 hours in Elder Scrolls, but I'm cracked on it right now, right? Like I downloaded all the apps for it. I got Wikipedia marked on my computers. I'm all into the lore of it. I'm all into the crafting and enchanting of it and stuff, and leveling up my character. And I just got it. I'm all in it, man. I'm just 100% Elder Scrolls. Whenever I get time to play games, it's usually at night. 36 hours have usually occurred between the hours of 10 and 4. One night there was a 5:30. We won't talk about that.
Oh my gosh.
But so that's what I get cracked on. Like I get cracked on video games, just get sucked into the story, and then sucked into the leveling up aspect of it. For a while it was the Division, but I have to say I have not played the Division once on my vacation. I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of mad at the people for it. I get why everybody's mad at the game now. Because they keep changing things that they'll let shotguns be super powerful and then they'll completely nerf them so they're nothing, so it completely throws off how you build your character and stuff. And then there's like certain gear items will be really powerful and they'll nerf those too and they'll boost other stuff, and so it's kind of frustrating playing that game. So I've switched over to Elder Scrolls now. And I remember when Elder Scrolls first dropped, I really wanted to like it because I liked Skyrim, I liked Oblivion. Didn't really play Morrowind very much. Did you ever play those Elder Scrolls games? Were you into those at all?
No, I didn't. I never played them.
They're pretty fun. So I really wanted to like it back in the day, but it's the same thing. It had some kinks, had to get worked out and stuff. But now it's pretty mature game, so it's pretty fun. So that's what I've been geeking out on is ESO, Elder Scrolls Online. I did notice they were having huge sales on the Batman Arkham games. I almost bought them actually, like $6. I think Arkham City for Xbox One was like $6 or something.
Oh, that's the best one. That's up there with being a fan of the character obviously and everything around him. It was a slam dunk for me to play Arkham Asylum when it came out. But before Arkham Asylum, if you remember, like all the franchise games, they were terrible. Like any superhero game, although Batman's not really a superhero, but any hero game, whatever, like they were not that great. I remember when Arkham Asylum came out, I'm like, well, it's Batman, I got to check it out, and I loved it. And then Arkham City, which was its sequel, that's one of my all-time. Like that's up there with BioShock or
Really?
Oh, dude, it's so good. Arkham City is phenomenal, especially if you're a fan of the stuff, because it's really good. And I'll stay spoiler free, even though the game's been out for 10 years or something. But it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The voice acting alone in the game is worth it. Mark Hamill plays the Joker. I meant to mention this too. A few shows ago, you asked me who my favorite Joker was, and I said Nicholson on screen. But really, my favorite, and I was thinking movie context. But if all-time favorite Joker, Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, like
Luke's damn Skywalker, dude, is the bomb. He's phenomenal.
He played the Joker in the video game?
He played the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, which is the first time that we heard him as Joker, and that's going back to the late 80s. And yes, he does the voice of the Joker in the Arkham series games. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And there's some meta things that go on in the game that happen with his real life career as the Joker and stuff like that kind of all come to a closure point in the game. And it's amazing. It's one of the few. I shed a tear.
Yeah, you gonna be okay?
I shed a dang tear at the end of Arkham City. There's only twice video games that made me cry.
You shed a tear. You really did.
I really did.
Wow.
I got choked up. Like, I don't mean like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I got like welled up. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is heartbreaking and amazing. And like, it was, I'm telling you, the acting and the storytelling is top notch. It's up there with BioShock. I mean, BioShock's the only other one that I can think of that has that quality of storytelling behind it. Now, it's drastically a different game. It's an open world game. You'd love it because you like them open world sandboxy kind of games. I'm not an open world sandbox guy. I don't like them at all. I don't like GTA. I don't like Assassin's Creed. I don't like those games. But the Arkham games, because they're Batman and because of the way that the stories go, it evolves a lot differently. It's still not linear. It doesn't make you go a certain path, but I don't know. It's just different. It's just the way that it's displayed is much different versus those other games. But yeah, so
now this was Arkham Asylum.
This is Arkham City. This was the sequel to Arkham Asylum. Yes. But
wasn't there one that came out that completely just kind of bombed?
Yes.
Or not bombed, but like the release was awful. It was having lots of errors and stuff like that.
Oh, that was the last one, and it was on the PC. That wasn't the console version of it. That was Arkham Knight. So what they did is they made Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then the developer, I think it's Rocksteady, they didn't do the third game. Somebody else did the third game, and that's Arkham Origins, which is that's kind of a weak game. And then Rocksteady came back to do the third one, which is Arkham Knight. That's the last one. That's the one that had the trouble at the launch and all that. And it's pretty good. It's a little too much of a driving game and a little too much of a tank game for me. It doesn't – the things that were so charming and so fun and interesting about Arkham City and even Asylum was that, you know, Batman's the world's greatest detective. So you felt like you had to solve puzzles. You had to figure things out. And Arkham Knight had that stuff, but it also had a lot of, like, there's this function where the Batmobile turns into a tank. And, like, you have to, like, fight like a tank. Like, and that's fine. But if I want a tank game, I'll buy a goddamn tank game. Don't put a tank game in my Batman game. And same thing with the racing stuff. It's like you have to solve all these puzzles by doing it, like following the. Like, I'm like, I don't want to play Forza. I want to play Batman. You know what I mean? Like, but Arkham City doesn't have that stuff. And Arkham City, well, it doesn't have, you know, some of the traversal stuff that Arkham Knight does. It's just soundly just a much, much better game. The other thing that bothers me too about Arkham Knight is that there's no Batcave. How in the heck are you going to have a Batman story and you got no goddamn Batcave? So anyways, I digress. Arkham City is phenomenal. If it's on there for $6, totally get it, dude. It's great. And it's not just the acting of Mark Hamill's Joker, but Kevin Conroy does Batman or Bruce Wayne, and he's also a guy going way back when, did it from Batman the Animated Series, and he's phenomenal, man. It's just fantastic, the acting and the quality of storytelling, and I can sit here and go on and on about it forever, and we'll run out of time, so I won't. So yeah, play it if you can.
Arkham City, right? That's the good one.
Arkham City, that's the best one. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's transition to talk about family. Speaking of family, because Batman has no family.
You know, when I got home today, I had family moments. Sonny, do you ever have those times? You know, of course, I know you love your.
Wait, are we starting this right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know you love your family, and I love my family too. I love them a lot. And it's sometimes, though, as a dad, you find it hard not to get frustrated at certain things that are completely beyond your control and, frankly, beyond their control. And really, It's not their fault. But it's just something kind of inside of you is just like crinkling and crackling and ready to snap. And you're just like, you rub it in your head. And how come this TV in this room is broken? I don't know. Okay, why? How come the internet isn't on? I don't know. Well, how come this toilet in this bathroom doesn't flush? Why is the chain broken off of the handle? I don't know. And inside you're going, somebody knows something.
I'm going to choke somebody.
Why doesn't anybody know anything? But anyways, it's not their fault. And God bless them. It's just funny. It's just one of those dad moments where you're like, all three of these things worked 35 minutes ago before I left the house. And now none of them work. Want to know what happened to me today when I got home?
Yeah. What happened? I'm tired. What happened? Your internet not work?
The internet didn't work. The toilet didn't flush, and one of the TVs was broken. That's what. There you go.
Define broken.
Like turned it on and the bottom corner was cracked, so the screen's all jacked up.
Ooh, how'd that happen?
Thankfully, it's an older TV that I've had it for, I don't know, probably 15 years. It's an older.
Is this the one in the man cave?
No. This is an older little flat screen. It's not even a 16 by 9 or whatever. It's not even a widescreen ratio. It's just a little LCD. It's a flat panel screen, but it's an old one, man. It's like standard, def little thing I had for a million years, and it was in our loft. It was just in this little like play area, and I'm sure it got hit by a stray Lego going 85 miles an hour at someone's head that missed and hit the TV or whatever. I don't know what hit it, but something hit it and cracked it.
So you haven't pieced together what happened?
No, it's a mystery. I need Batman. I need the world's greatest detective.
You need to be Batman.
Yeah. I need to put on my detective vision and see if I can solve the crime. Who broke the old TV?
So both kids are saying no, it wasn't me.
I don't know. Both of them say I don't know. I don't know what happened. Okay.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so it's like and I believe.
So they're lying.
Well, I believe them because it's not a TV that gets used very often, and I'm sure somebody hit it with something and didn't realize that they broke it because just looking at it, you can't tell it's cracked until you turn the thing on. So I'm sure somebody broke it and didn't even realize that they broke it. But it's just funny that it's just like no one knows nothing.
Doesn't that make you more mad though than them just admitting it?
Well, and that's what I told him, and here's why I believe him because both my boys are they're pretty hip to know that look, the cover up is always worse than the crime. They
Yeah.
know that it's like, look, if you make a mistake, that's one of the things we talk about in our house all the time. Is if you make a mistake, own it, just man up on it, own your mistake. It's okay. The thing to learn about is how do we get better? How do we fix it? How do we learn for the next time? Let's not dwell on the mistake. Let's dwell on the solution. To steal another line in this Batman-centric episode we're having, why do we fall down, Bruce? Because that's how we learn to get back up. All right, and it's a line from Batman Begins, and it's the truth. It's like, if you make a mistake, you just own it, and we'll figure it out. We'll move on. It's okay. But don't lie to me. Don't cover it up. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Just don't. So they know not to do that. So I think it was innocent. I don't think anybody, is trying to hide anything. But yeah, it's still can be frustrating at times. Nonetheless.
Well, this morning was my last day off. I have to go to work tomorrow. And I generally work a 4-10 schedule, so I have to go to work tomorrow for 3 days, and then I get another 3 days off. So it's kind of brutal. But so today was the last sleep-in day, and so the boys came in when I woke up at around 10. It's kind of nice, just in time for second breakfasties. And and so we're just wrestling.
You are a hobbit. You're big for a hobbit, but you're a hobbit.
Oh my gosh. I got the hairy feet and stuff. So we're wrestling, just having fun on the bed and stuff. And that's the best part of this age range right now is just the wrestling on the bed in the morning and stuff, and just whatever story they want to play, we're just gonna play it. And Dom comes in today and says, "I'm a stormtrooper, and you're the Rebel Alliance." And I'm like, "Why do I gotta be the Rebel Alliance? They're not cool." He goes, "I'm a stormtrooper," and he's holding two. Last time we had corn on the cob, right? And those little end pieces you can stick in the insides of the corn,
Yeah.
He's holding two of those, one in each hand. And he comes racing in and goes, "Let's fight." He goes, "I'm the stormtrooper, you're the Rebel Alliance," and jumps on the bed with those things. I'm like, "What are you trying to do? Stab me? Are you crazy?" So I take those, and take them away and throw them and stuff. So we start wrestling around. We're just goofing off. And then, on the side of my bed, you have a nightstand and stuff. So one of my pillows was on the nightstand. And it's like, oh man, I better move that, because he could, jump on that. It might slip off or something. Boom. He goes to grab the pillow. The pillow falls in between the gap between the nightstand and then my bed, and he just face first, just smack right on the nightstand, and then falls head first in between the nightstand and the bed. And I'm like, oh my gosh! So I pick him up, and he's screaming. And then I'm like, is there blood? And sure enough, there was blood. He busted his bottom lip, hitting the nightstand and stuff, And so I'm just sitting there holding him, and he's just quivering, and it was crazy, man. It sucked. It's just crazy how fast it can go from greatest feeling in the world of let's play and wrestle and have fun, and then next thing you know, he's bloody and crying, and I guess that's what happens when you become that dad, No. I felt so bad for the guy,
You should come at me with a cob fork.
Yeah, you need a bigger cob fork to wrestle dad, Don't bring a cob fork to a bed fight. Something, right? But I was beating myself up. I'm still beating myself up all day, because it was early morning. I'm kind of groggy. I noticed the pillow was there, and as soon as I started thinking I better move that, boom, it happened, right? So I'm kind of like beating myself up saying, did I not react fast enough? Did I not properly prepare my house and stuff? And then like his younger brother, he has a busted tooth because he was at the neighbor's house and slipped on some water. So he busted his tooth, right? And then like a day later, Dom bites Anthony in the cheek. So now he has a bruise on his cheek.
Oh my
and then
God.
he has a bruise on his forehead from falling or something like that, So it's just nuts, right? It's just, I'm like, Rachel, we can't go in public, right? People are going to call the freaking DHS on us, And so I just keep going back and forth between how much of this is just standard kids being kids and that's it, and how much more can we do around the house to prepare it and make it safe for the kids. It's not like there's a death traps anywhere and stuff. And so yeah, man, it's just hard. Did you ever experience that when you were, your boys were little and stuff, and just how much safe can you make, or how much more safe can you make your house and stuff? I don't know.
Oh yeah, you're gonna beat up your kids. My wife's beat them up too, pretty good. That's just part of it, especially when you're roughhousing and stuff. It's what you're gonna do with boys, man. You're gonna roughhouse, you're gonna play, and they're gonna get hurt. I can tell you numerous stories about that. I'll tell you two though, my favorites. The one where I hurt our oldest son, Tristan. He used to play this game where I guess he was probably about Dom's age. He would run at me, and I would kind of like push him back, like I would be down on the floor, and it's like sitting like crisscrossed applesauce, and he'd come run at me, and I would like kind of push him back, or I'd be down on all fours, and I'd kind of like reach for his foot, and he would like try to like backpedal like to get away from me, kind of thing.
Jeez.
What?
Go ahead.
No, he was just like
You would trip him?
Well, but not like on purpose, like just, yeah, but just like, I got you kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get you. You know what I mean? Like that kind of, like, just like reaching out for him, like, and then, so he would like see how close he could get before how like close he could get to my reach, if that makes sense. And then once he saw he was just within my reach and I'd reach out to get him, he would back up, like that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So one time, we're on the carpet in the living room. And he comes running at me, and I'm like, how to get you? And I reach out, and I go to, like, kind of grab at his ankle. Well, I got him good. I grabbed the back of his heel, and that was the heel he was driving backwards to step back on. And he went right back on his back and landed, like, head, like, back and back of head first. Like, like flipped up in the air, like, whoop, but, like, just kid smack, boom, back down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just broke my child. Like, instantly you just feel awful. And I'm like, oh my God. Of course, and he's not like bawling crying, but he's like, oh, I'm like, I'm so sorry, buddy. And I'm loving on him and I'm so sorry. And blah, blah, blah. And Anna, comes in from the other room. She's like, what is going on? I'm like, I just smashed his head on the carpet. She's like, that was the carpet? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, she's like, I can't believe it was that loud. I'm like, yeah, me too. I'm like, I'm so sorry, buddy. And so we stopped playing, obviously. And so anyway, so this is a Saturday, right? And so I just feel bad, but he seems fine. He was, like I said, he wasn't even like bawling. He was just kind of like, like, ooh, So I go to a buddy's house that night. I go over, we're playing cards. I get a phone call at, I don't know, probably like 11 o'clock that night. I get a phone call. I'm taking Tristan to the emergency room. You should probably come and meet us.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, okay, I'll be right there. So I hang up, I fly over there, we go in there. And we're like, what's going on? What's going on? Your son has a mild concussion. Did he have any impacts to his head earlier in the day? Like, well, yeah, actually he did. We were playing and I knocked him down and he hit his head. Yeah, he's got a mild. I'm like, honey, what happened? Well, it was not long after you left. He started throwing up. I'd wondered if maybe he got sick, but then I saw that his eyes were getting all weird. He's getting real lethargic. So I brought him in. Yeah, so I concussed my child. So the poor guy, when he was like 3 years old. So you talk about feeling bad, dude. Like I mean, just absolutely destroyed, feeling awful for, oh my gosh, I hurt my kid. But that's, again, when you're roughhousing and you're doing stuff, they're going to get hurt. So then the other one, so my wife gets him one time.
The older one, right?
The older one. Yeah. The littler one.
Yeah. We feel the same thing.
My brother was walking into the mall one time with Vinny up on his shoulders and hit a wet spot on the floor. And he started to go down, and he was trying to get Vinny off his shoulders, so Vinny wouldn't land flat. And he, as he was pulling him off, like Vinny fell off to the side. Like I wasn't there, but like my wife dove and tried to catch him, and she missed, and he hit his head too, and whatever. So Vinny got hurt pretty good there. But the other one where Anna got Tristan, I'm at work one day, And he's little, man. He's like, gosh, I don't know. When do they start getting teeth? What is that, 3 months?
No, way past 3 months. Like
5 months, 6 months? When do they get those two coming up from the bottom?
I'd say between 6 months and 12 months, somewhere around there.
All right, so he's about that age. So he's got the two coming up from the bottom that look like a little beaver, and then he's got some of the others coming up top. Well, he had something in his teeth, and so she took her, like, my wife has kind of long fingernails, and she was in there and she was going to get something out of his tooth, and she cut his gum, right? So here's what I get. So here's me at work. Hello, blah, 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 blah. This is Josh. How can I help you? This is what I hear. I'm a terrible mother. Honey, what happened? I heard Tristan, he's bleeding. Oh my, and I'm starting to freak. I'm like, oh my gosh, what'd you do to him? Did you hit him? No, I didn't hit him. Well, what'd you happen? How are you a terrible mother? Honey, it's fine. What happened? I was cleaning something out of his teeth, and I cut his gum, and he's bleeding everywhere.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, honey, it's okay. It's okay. Calm down. Everything's going to be fine. Oh, my gosh. And so she's going on about how so she was just doing a little, like moms do to their kids, picking a little something out of his teeth and cut his gum. And I got, gums bleed.
Yeah.
And she's bleeding all over the place. So, yeah, she freaked out. So, anyway. Yes, that stuff happens. You're going to make your kids bleed. You're going to mildly concuss them. You know what I mean? They're going to get scrapes and bruises and whatever. And it's just, yes, you could prepare it. Should you put some foam rubber around the glass coffee table?
Did it?
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, yes, should you do stuff like that? But can you prevent every little thing? Nah, you can't, man. They're just going to be boys, or they're going to be kids in general, and they're going to get hurt,
Yeah, I agree. I knew this one guy used to say have an adult-centered home versus having a kid-centered home. But I've watched his kids kind of grow up. And they're just a little different and stuff, And so I think I like having the kid-centered home to where it's, not they don't dominate the home, but they have certain play areas and it's just a kid home, But there's only so much you can do, to safe-proof your house and stuff, And then I also think, if you want to bring the psychological aspect into it, if you provide too much of a bubble for your kids at home, and then they get older, they don't know how to experience life. They don't know how to experience getting hit. They don't know how to experience falling. They don't know how to experience pain, and then they'll never learn and stuff. Then they'll even do stuff a little more crazier. They won't have an idea of, hey, look, I can't climb this high because if I do and fall, it's going to hurt. But if you don't ever let them climb anything, they're not going to know that. There's a little element of scariness here and stuff. So.
You gotta let them live a little. You know what I mean? I agree with you. I think there's a gray area. You don't want to make it like, all right, look, kid, this is our house. You're coming into our world. You're going to have to deal with it. I don't care if you stick your finger in a light socket or not. No, you can't be like that. But you also can't turn your entire house into a bubble wrapped playground. That's,
because that's not life. You can't.
That's not life. You know what I mean? But there's a middle ground. Every kid's different, and they're all, but yeah, I think it's important though, because you got to have those boundaries. They got to understand, like, look, this is not the play area. You got a play area. It's your room. Or yes, you can have toys out here, but you can only have 2 or whatever it may be. But you know what I mean? But there's a middle ground there to be had for sure. And I think it's important. I think not only is it important as parents, but it's important, like you said, for the kid. It goes both ways. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to totally abandon yourself as well. You know what I mean? You can't just put your life on hold to completely cater and revolve around the kid. But your life does revolve around the kid to a certain degree, so you have to account for that.
And it should, because you have kids.
And it should, because you have kids, exactly.
And they're kind of helpless without you,
Kind of, yeah. They won't eat, and they'll pee and poop all over themselves.
Basically,
of course, we've been doing that for 40 years.
I've changed more poopy diapers this last week than I have an entire lifespan of Anthony. It's kind of crazy.
Good for you. You should. That's an important thing as a dad to change.
Yeah, diapers. I did the first time. The first one I changed diapers. Second time, not so much.
And you do the old school diapers too, huh? You still doing those?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't do those. I just do regular diapers. I don't. You got to fold it certain ways, and I don't do all that crap.
Yeah, I don't know. The old school diapers, that would be tough. The new ones, though, man, yeah, I was a champ on those.
Yeah, those are easy. I can do that one-handed.
Yeah. Do you guys have the diaper genie?
What's the diaper genie?
The diaper genie. That thing was the bomb. It had this like big, giant, long tube, for lack of a better term, of plastic that was like scented, and like came on these big rolls, and you would feed it into this machine. And you pop the top off the diaper genie, you put the dirty diaper down in it, and then you close the lid, and then you spin it, and then it twists the tube like you're making like little diaper sausages in there. And when you do that, it seals it up so it doesn't stink. And then you just do that until the thing fills up. And then once the thing's full, then you pull it out, and you got this big, giant, long, like links of diapers, and you just throw them in the trash.
No, we just
I think it was the bomb, man.
we throw each diaper away as it comes to us. We don't let them just sit there in a pile of poop. What are you, a hoarder? You just hoarding diapers?
It
Hoarding poop?
seals it up. It's a nice thing. It's a diaper genie.
You got a whole bunch of diapers in your house for no reason. That's
No, that's
disgusting.
not like you do them like 100 at a time. The thing,
That's disgusting. You take it out as they go. They poop, you throw it away. You poop, they throw it away. Done.
Oh, but then your garbage can smells like
Oh, you throw it outside, you sicko.
Sonny Lewis,
What?
are you still talking?
I'm doing a podcast.
I told you we're eating at 5:30.
All right, Josh, I gotta go eat dinner.
Yeah, tell her not to break the internet on the way.
Don't break the internet. All right, that's it for this episode. This is episode number 5. Is that episode 5?
My wife's gonna punch me for that comment. Yes, that's number 5.
All right, 2 more to go, and then we're past the 90 percentile of failing for podcasting. As rumors have it, if you don't do 7 episodes of a podcast, you won't make it. So we're going to do at least 2 more and then quit. At least, right, Josh? At least 2 more.
2 more, and then we're out of here.
Yeah, 2 more and then we're out of here. All right, thanks for tuning in. Check us out on iTunes, Degos On 3, on Twitter, at Degos On 3, Facebook, join the Facebook group, Degos On 3. I think we're on Stitcher as well, and Libsyn, Degos On 3. Thanks to our ones of listeners. Still waiting for that Kansas, or is it Kansas or Kentucky?
It was Kansas and Wisconsin. Let's go.
Come on, we're still waiting for Kansas and Wisconsin. So if you know somebody who lives in Kansas or Wisconsin, tell them to download our freaking podcast so it can show up in the stats, because we can see what stats you're listening from. So appreciate everybody checking us out so far. And Josh, anything else?
I'm not gonna kill you. I want you to tell your friends about me.
You got to lay off Batman, bro.
Thanks for checking out our podcast. Tune in each Tuesday morning for a new episode. Downloadable on iTunes and Stitcher. Facebook at Degos On 3. Twitter at Degos On 3. And DegosOn3.libsyn.com.
You're kind of going overboard with that. We'll end it right there.